Good afternoon, guys. My name is Alena Shautsova. I'm an immigration attorney from Brooklyn, New York. In today's video, I would like to address a couple of issues related to asylees and people who are seeking asylum and refugees, or people who would like to come to the United States in refugee status. And we're also going to talk about did Biden change his mind? What happened with the promises that he made before he became the president? We're going to talk about that in the second part of the video, so stay with me. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Like and share this video if you're going to like it, and let's start. Well, first of all, many of you asked me to give you some updates regarding asylum pending status and asylum pending and reform, immigration reform. If people who filed for asylum and are waiting for the interview will be able to benefit from the immigration reform, and what is the status of various changes that happened during the Trump administration with regard to asylum seekers. So first of all, the good news is that a lot of regulations that the Trump administration tried to put forward with regard to qualifications for asylum were stopped last minute by the courts. So overall, you will not have to worry about things like additional bars to asylum in case you travel through a third country, or let's say something related to the criminal grounds of asylum that do not, bars to asylum that do not constitute particularly serious crime. So basically those regulations that were promoted by the Trump administration during, I believe, 2020, they will not go into effect. Many of them will not, but some did. Some changes did go into effect. So first of all, and of course here I will not be able to go through every little change, but the main changes I will talk to you about now here. The main change is that now if you file for asylum, generally speaking, you have to wait for 365 days before you can file for your work permit, unless you are a member of two non-for-profit organizations that filed a lawsuit against then Trump administration and now Biden's administration. And if you are a member of those organizations, you will be able to file your work permits under the old rules of 180-day rule, okay? But you have to prove that you are a member when you file for those work permits. The first work permit under C8 asylum pending category is free. You don't need to pay filing fee to the government. But to renew asylum now, you have to, asylum-based work permit, now you also have to pay biometrics fee, $85. I know that many were confused. They did not know how much they need to pay to renew their asylum-based work permits. Well, generally speaking, it's $495 right now, $410 for the work permit and $85 for the biometrics fee. All right. Interviews. What I see right now, people are being called for the interviews, those people who filed their cases in 2016 and 17. And this is what I see from my practice, either cases of my clients or people who are calling me and telling me, asking for the last minute assistance with the interview and so on. Those are the people who filed their cases in 2016 and 2017. Okay, generally speaking. Of course, there are still cases that are pending from 2015, and perhaps someone who filed the case in 2019 or 20 is being called, perhaps, but majority of those interviews are being scheduled for, at least what I see, for the people who filed their cases in 2016 and 2017. Now, asylum and immigration reform. Someone commented that people who filed for asylum will not qualify for the immigration reform. This is not true. Asylum pending status is not any status that gives you any rights in the United States. Okay? It's just an authorization to stay in the United States. This is not a lawful non-immigrant status. For that particular reason, you cannot change it to tourist status or student status or work status. You cannot adjust your status unless you qualify for immediate relative exception. Okay? So if immigration reform passes, generally speaking, people who filed for asylum should be able to file for it as well, unless, of course, there will be some specific changes saying that you cannot. And I'm not aware of any of those changes. I know that people who have asylum status will not qualify for it. Why? Because they already have a legal status, but they were granted asylum. This is a difference, okay? So this is, I hope this answers the question about the connection, I guess, between the asylum pending and potential immigration reform. If you otherwise qualify for immigration reform, let's say you're also a dreamer, or let's say you're also a TPS holder or farm worker, you should be able to benefit from the immigration reform regardless if you also submitted your asylum application. Of course, if you're otherwise inadmissible, meaning that you didn't submit frivolous asylum application, you didn't maybe lie in your application, okay, some things like that. So that's something to keep in mind. So these are the main things I wanted to talk to you about the asylum pending. I have some videos about the asylum pending. If you search my channel, you will find them, like do's and don'ts of the asylum pending. I have some blogs on my website as to how to prepare for the asylum, affirmative asylum interview. So it's a very big topic, of course, and you should be able to find some good information that you may use. Now let's talk about refugees and what happened just basically recently, today, I think. Today is Friday, correct, today. Biden stated that he is not going to raise the limit of refugees that can be accepted to the United States. Previously, he promised that he's going to raise the limit so that there will be about 62,000 refugees that will be allowed to come to the United States this fiscal year. But now he stated that it's not going to happen, and the limit that was established by Trump of 15,000 refugees is going to stay put for this fiscal year. He did say that, or his administration rather stated that for the next fiscal year, the limit will be 125,000. So I guess to make up the difference. But for us, people who are waiting for the immigration reform, we kind of like, wait a second, you promised one thing and now it changes. So I personally got worried. But hopefully there is some kind of a rational explanation for this, perhaps related to COVID. And of course, the articles, the news articles that I read cite crisis at the border as the reason, as potential reason why President Biden decided not to change that limit. What's good that changed is that the discriminatory way the refugees were selected got changed. And now they're again choosing pre-Trump way to select refugees, meaning that each region is receiving approximately the same number of slots. I think there is only 1,500 refugee slots for the refugees from Europe, 7,000 from Africa, something else from East Asia. So it more evened out way to select refugees, but still, of course, the number is very, very low compared to the previous administrations, not counting the Trump administration, okay? So this is something that the news came out today, and of course, it kind of worries me a little bit because this one of the things that Biden announced as his main change that he will do once he's elected the president, that he's going to increase the number of refugees, along with the immigration reform and some potential good changes in immigration law. So we're going to see what's going to happen. No updates on the status of the immigration reform and different laws, unfortunately, yet. But this is the information I wanted to share with you today. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you find this update helpful. Please like, share this video, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you soon.